Welcome to TradeTheNBI.com. This is John. This report is for the second, and well, as we saw the breakdown starting, we ended up with our orange caught in between, which was a continuation move. Steel moving across at the start of action. We dipped below the green ABM. Yeah, it's not surprising. We also saw, based on what we were looking at from the polls, we were expecting the move to start making a break. I was looking for a little bit of a pop that would then give the opportunity for longs to exit, and they did in quick fashion. And this is part of what you would expect when change in perception is taking place. And so that's began, even from the NQ a week plus ago, is when things started to get noticed and began to have an impact. Oh, that's right, when we had our DOC break right here for the NQ. And now we're starting to get that evening out, which is what we were looking for from both markets, ES, NQ, and then the Dow to even out, because the Dow had been weaker than all of them, held up a little bit better than the others, and now it's sort of moved back into a parity zone. And we can see Euro massive climb up off of the deep oversold. Pretty solid move, a little bit overbought at this particular point. It'll be interesting to see if the shakeout can go positive on this before it has to fill back in just a little bit of that dramatic turn. It was just a little bit overdone at the other end, and that's what happens when it comes back up to the upside. TLT still basing in the middle of nothingness. That's gap down super low. And this is the stronger dollar, fears of completely missing out on what their expectation was before and having to change completely where the allotments are. You can see the oil started matching that similar move with the potential of a glut. If you're going to open the spigots in America, it's going to be problematic for maintaining price. Never changed from the DOC spread back over here. That tried to come back a little bit, but the cyan has stayed above this the whole way through. And then when we did have the dip of the orange, we had no corresponding move of the short-term buyers to indicate that there was any enthusiasm about maintaining that. We knew oil would be problematic, being able to maintain itself for some time. Gold, defensive play, and people are taking advantage of it. It still has a bit of work to do. We're about to get a positive shakeout, though. It's just now gotten overbought. A little bit of an overreaction to market dip, because this is not necessarily a market dip out of fear. It's just going to have to be a rebalancing, and so we're going to have to see where that takes us with the adjustments. And there it is from an ES. Now it's interesting if we look at this, because it stayed green, and this is part of the adjustments that I'm doing. What happens is we come across here, we ended up with the signal that would normally indicate our short setup here as the DOC spread happened. The difficulty was that you didn't have a corresponding move of steel that would support it, and so literally you have to wait for a shakeout move into the negative territory, which didn't happen until later, and then you got a subsequent one where we were below the yellow. Even though we were below the yellow one in this first one here, plus you get a corresponding move of steel once it crosses below cyan. But then you want to see it maintain itself outside for trend to go. Plus you also had short algo over long algo at this point, and that was a good turnaround off of the long algo cross. Lasted a good 10 bars right here, and then started to flip over right about that point, and that's when things just began to cascade lower until we ended up with the attempted new buy setups right about here, and plus you ended up with that minus 23 on the I did it a couple of times, but we had no closes above the long algo at all until right over here, and then we ended up with the first corresponding move of the steel going below. Didn't do much for a little while, but then finally popped up at the end. But it's gotten overbought, and so it's got to come back a little bit on there. So all in all, no real objections with that, and still working on solving why I was getting those runtime errors. I got a couple of them resolved, but 3 or 4 more left to go. So I'm working on that each day, and as soon as it's squared away, I'll be sending that one out, which should happen, I'm hoping, in the next day or so. As always, though, continue to look for me on the Skype chat. We'll keep following this. We expect a little bit lower before we see a turnaround. It just depends on if we get significant movement. Could force the reallocation even sooner than some may expect. I think some people are looking to see if the hemorrhaging on HRC side fades a little bit, giving them justification to stabilize, or if they have to keep moving. I mean, like I mentioned before, the algos started moving out of this setup about a week ago, right before the fall began, anticipating this extra volatility. So, it's boring for us because it's sort of like there was nothing new in any of this. It was just a matter of letting the setup happen and then waiting for it. And sure enough, boom, there it is. And we're just like, oh, well, tell us something we couldn't already see from what was taking place. So from that standpoint, it's good. Better to be unsurprised by dramatics that other people think are something major. This isn't anything outlandish in any way, shape, or form. A couple of positive extremes going all the way back down to here. Worth noting here, the 2096, I would expect that to get retested back on that move. So tough start to a November for some people, but I think it's going to play into the hands of funds who are going to be loading up here towards the end of the week. Pre-election, it'll be interesting to see if they hold off, but normally we would expect around the 5th and the 6th for more money to start piling back in. So we'll be looking for that change in developments pretty quick, particularly if we start making a significant move, and that this could be an opportunity for them to really drive it lower for what we would look for that year-end bounce. So keep that one in mind as well. I know it's crazy talking about the potential for bullish changes after the election. Is our expectation is still there and no different. So keep that in mind. Stay with it, as always. Trade well and look for me on the Skype chat.